Hey guys, welcome back to You Seem Normal. I did miss last Sunday's video, but I had a good excuse. I was visiting my friends, and so I didn't have a chance to upload, and I didn't plan on it either, so good for me. I'm back today, and I'm answering a request from a subscriber named MJ, which I would first just like to say, MJ, thank you for the request, and also, if you didn't know, MJ is like one of the most iconic television characters of this century, rather. MJ Delfino, baby. So, he asked if I could do more about anger or anger techniques or things like that. So, that's what we're going to do today, okay? So, the first thing that I'm going to say is dealing with your anger, managing your anger, living with your anger. You're not going to get better. You actually could get better at it overnight. But I mean, you're not going to see a huge transformation overnight. It's going to take a very long time. And especially in the beginning, you're going to need to think about it like every day until you've practiced enough to be able to trust yourself to handle things well. So, just as an example of like it doesn't happen overnight, I was hospitalized 2 years ago, like a little over 2 years ago now. And so I've been in therapy since then, although technically not in 2021. But, and I was in therapy before that. So it kind of shows it's not going to happen overnight. And that's not to say that it won't take 10 years for you, depending on your situation or your age, or that it couldn't take, I don't know, half a year with yourself. To sit down and work on these things, but it takes a lot of practice and time. I will say my anger's under control. It's not to say that I've never slipped up or had troubles with my anger, because that's actually natural. You should be angry sometimes about some things. I would think it's a normal emotion. One of the most stigmatized emotions. But yeah, so let's go through a few things today. I have a few different things. They're kind of like beliefs of mine that I can explain. So beliefs, I don't know what to call them. But one thing I have is it's not all going to work, and even if it does, it may not last. So that's a tip I have about using different techniques and methods. And then I have like things to do and ways of thinking as like different ideas within that. And then I have this idea that everything is connected. You can't forget about that. And some of the things that you're dealing with outside of anger, that it's actually all very much connected. You can't just compartmentalize put your anger over here in this box and then just like think that it doesn't connect to other things in your life, because it does. So this first one, it's not all going to work, and even if it does, it may not last. That is about different tips. That's about different techniques and things that you can try. They're not all going to work for you. People love journaling and mindfulness and meditation and whatever. That may not work for you. Likely, it probably hasn't. I feel like it probably hasn't for you if you're on this video. And I'm the same way. So some things I did do that could help in some ways were things like trigger tracking, which is like thinking back on situations and writing down, or in the moment, writing down what it was, or as much as you can mutter about that, to try to identify what your triggers are and see if there's a pattern. You might find, like I did, that it was so random and all over the place that there wasn't a connection. Everything was so random. It wasn't like one thing all the time. It was two opposite things. And so you have to think, what could be the connection between those? What could be maybe an underlying belief in between those? Whatever. So you can try trigger tracking. You can try mood tracking. Mood tracking was really important to me because I found that I did okay in the week, and my weekends were just complete crap. The end of the week and weekends were complete crap. That worked for me up until I found that, and then I could deal with it. So like, see, it may not last. Like, you're not going to continue necessarily to do some of these things. This one I tried for a period of time, a reward system. So I had like a sticker chart. That was interesting. It didn't last very long. But it was fun because I did say, like, I'm going to buy myself a face mask if I get 10 stickers. It's fun to like do. I know if it helped with my anger. Yeah, I said mood tracking. I don't know what this is. Oh, you might need to put yourself on a strict sleep and eating schedule. You might want to try reading different books. So like one that I've mentioned is Practicing Peace by Pema Chodron. You may decide to read Feeling Good by David M. Burns, and that's a book about depression. And see what they have to say. Okay, next. We want things to be convenient, right, in the society in which we live. And yet, I'm going to challenge you to choose some not as convenient things in the sake of your mental health and living with your anger. So, like, if you can eliminate the really big triggers or the ones that you see as, it might not even be a trigger. Like when I say I had road rage, it's not that wasn't really a trigger. That was a manifestation of my anger. That was one way it would come out. So it's kind of like both. But if you can eliminate the big triggers or the situations that you find yourself in that you're most angry and dangerous or whatever it is for you, at least for a period of time, you can take that time. It's just going to alleviate part of that stress off of you, so you can just focus on doing things better and practicing in other ways, and then coming back to whatever that activity is or was. So like for me, that was not driving and having to ride the city bus. But that allowed me to get in a different routine that allowed me to take out one of the biggest stress. It may re-manifest itself in another way. It'd actually be really interesting to see. Or, okay, my bad. So yes, it may re-manifest itself in different ways, and that would be very interesting to see what form it takes. Or it may allow you to remove some of those stressors from your day and be able to practice the smaller things that upset you before doing those sort of larger things that are in a less safe environment, like on the road. And then another thing I found for myself, which could be helpful for you, is like my anger was very tied to my depression, which we'll talk about. But one of the things that helped my depression and anger was creating variation in my life. And I think I've talked about this on my Instagram, but it's not that I need variety. So like to me, this is how I define the two. To me, like variety is like one day I'm in Mississippi and the other day I'm in the mountains, but alone. Variation is like things that you change up very subtly day to day, but that can actually make a difference and make your days feel different. If your days start to feel incredibly monotonous, you are going to, I think, struggle more with depression. Because I say, well, it's the same thing every day and this sucks, so F this. There is nothing to live for, whatever. So consider variation in your life. Okay, and then the final thing I have is that you have to remember that everything really is connected. To me, this means you have to recognize and work with other like factors and conditions in your life that may be causing the anger. You can't think that it's just me and my brain. It's things like the environment you live in, the place you work in, the place you live in, how you were brought up, who's around you, if you're oppressed in one or more ways, if you have other mental health or physical ailments. All of those things are connected and you can't separate them from each other. So you have to think of anger as a part of that system of your being. They all have to do with each other. It's going to take time, but you can start doing these things that seem small. Like ultimately, when I was talking about trigger tracking, mood tracking, like working on your diet, which when I mean working on your diet, I mean eating meals regularly and sleeping regularly, both tie into each other. Trying a reward system, reading, meditating, journaling, exercising. See how I never say exercising? That's because That's not what helps me. It actually can make me madder, actually. All of those things are things that will get you to a place where you start to uncover these underlying beliefs that you have, and you can work on those. So a lot of what those figured out for me was my perfectionism and obsessive compulsive personality disorder. Doing these things is going to reveal things. So it doesn't really matter which one you pick. You just want to pick one just pick one. It's not a biggie. Just try it. And then once you get sick of it, just try something else or add something else or whatever. So MJ, I hope this helped. Let me know what other questions and or suggestions you have in the comments. If anyone else has a different type of request, you can also leave that. As MJ knows, I take these questions and requests very seriously. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.